We're looking at this word problem here. It's number 28. It's using one of our favorite equations. We've seen lots of variations of this in our work through quadratics and factoring. So this function y equals negative 16x squared plus 36. It represents the height. So the y value is the height in feet of an apple x seconds after falling from a tree. So this is the unit for feet per second for a projectile, a falling object. They want us to do two things: find the x and the y-intercepts. Now this is going to require some algebra. The x-intercepts are the coordinates. Here, if I just do like a quick little, an x and a y-axis. An x-intercept is on the x-axis. It's where it's crossing the x-axis. So the y value, any point on the x-axis, is 0. That's really important to recognize here. In fact, I'll write this right here. On the x-intercept, the y value is 0, always, right? And on the y-intercept, same thing basically happens. Well, reversed, I guess. Anywhere on the y-axis, the x value is 0. So on your y-intercept, your x value is going to be 0. So what we'll do is we'll basically define the x-intercepts. We're going to replace the y value here with 0 and solve for x. And to find the y-intercepts, we're going to replace the x value with 0 and solve for y. The x-intercepts is going to be the trickier one. So let's do that first. So we're going to take this equation and we're going to replace the y value with 0. So I'm going to have 0 equals negative 16x squared plus 36. Now this requires some prior knowledge in order to solve. To solve these types of problems, we are going to use factoring and the zero product property. Technically, there's a couple other ways to do it, but really that's all I've shown you. So that's what I want to do here in this video. So in order to do that, I need to do a little bit of rearranging. My difference of two squares is what I'm going to use here, and I know that because I got two terms. When I switch the order, which I'll do right here, 36 stays positive. This becomes minus 16x squared. I have two terms with subtraction between them where each can be written as a perfect square. So I'm going to do that right now. 36 can be written as 6 squared. 16x squared. Well, 4 times 4 is 16, and x times x is x squared. So this can be minus 4x squared. And recognizing that is very, very handy because this is a difference of two squares. I'll put the pattern over here just in case you've forgotten it. Anytime you have a perfect square minus another perfect square, it can immediately get factored. The first thing squared, the second thing squared as a plus minus pattern. So I can make this 6 plus 4x times 6 minus 4x. And the whole reason I did that was because I wanted to create a multiplication problem that equals 0. That's how I factor. I'm going to use, or that's how I solve. I'm going to factor, create a multiplication problem that equals 0, then use the zero product property. If I've got a multiplication problem that equals 0, then either the first thing equals 0 or the second thing equals 0. Then I just solve them. I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides here. So 4x is equal to negative 6. I'm going to divide both sides by 4. And that doesn't go in there evenly. So we can make it a simplified fraction. I can make it negative 3 over 2. Or I can divide it in the calculator, negative 6 divided by 4. And I can do negative 1.5. Either's fine. I'm just going to go ahead and put negative 1.5, which is the same as negative 3 halves. 3 over 2. 3 divided by 2 is negative 1.5. Here, very similar thing is going to happen. I'm going to subtract the 6, but that's going to give me a negative 4x equals negative 6. I'm going to divide by negative 4. So pretty much the same answer, but a negative divided by a negative is a positive. I'm going to get x is 1.5. Those are my x-intercepts. I can actually leave the answers like this. That's fine. Those are x-intercepts. You can also write them as coordinates. 1.50. Those are your x-intercepts. And I'll go ahead and label them as such right here, x-intercepts. Okay. Finding the y-intercepts is going to be much easier. You're going to like this one, I think, a lot better. Or you love this because it's algebra and it's fun and we got to use the difference of two squares. Okay. Let's go to the y-intercepts. The y-intercepts mean make the x value 0. So you go back to the original equation and this is going to become 0. So here, I'll rewrite it here so we can see it. Y is equal to negative 16x squared plus 36. we want to find the y-intercepts this time. So we'll do the y-intercepts. And that means the x value is going to be 0. Negative 16. So that's going to be 0. X becomes 0. And the algebra is much simpler. This whole thing becomes 0 because 0 squared is 0 times 16. So it's basically 0 plus 36. Y is 36. So that is correct as far as my answer goes for the x-intercept. A lot of people like to write them as coordinates because intercepts are coordinates. The x value is 0. The y value is 36. That is a y-intercept. And that's your final answer. I'll put the yellow highlighter around it. Maybe I'll do the orange for a different color. And we got them both. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Message me anytime you have questions.